I'm Will, welcome back to the Bored Book Geek, and how are you guys? It's been a hot minute since I did sort of a normal booktube video, so I am doing a wrap up and an am reading all in one go, and a book haul as well, because it's been, and also a couple of films too, so I want to talk about these. So I haven't hauled these, so I'm going to talk about this and start from the beginning. So, Hex Life. I was sent this by the publisher at my request. It is a collection of short stories by countless writers, which I will put there, so if you guys want to read that, you can. So, pause. And you know what? I read it and it's brilliant. I absolutely love short stories, and you know my love of witches. So I couldn't resist it, and it is a gorgeous book. What I like about this is that there is something for everyone. You might not like one story, but you'll like another. And that's genuinely what I enjoyed about it. There was stuff in this book I didn't like, but there was also stuff that I adored, and I'm like, I want to read more from this writer, and it's a great way of being introduced to a writer. So thank you, Titan, for sending me this. It's absolutely spectacular. Definitely added some writers onto lists of people that I will be looking into. I reread The Adventures of Alice in Wonderland, which is another short stories compilation. I love Alice in Wonderland, and when I come down to it, I thought, you know what, I was in the mood to reread them, and I did, and this is one of the few times I'm actually going to be keeping the pub sheet, because I mean, how cool is that? So I was like, yep, again, I love short stories, I love Alice in Wonderland, and again, this was from Titan. Two really good short story compilations, a bit of a reread, but there we go. I picked this up secondhand in my library for 10p in their bucket, and this is Chuck Palahniuk, Invisible Monsters. I have problems saying his last name, by the way, and I apologise if I get it wrong, because I'm a huge fan of his, and I've never managed to say his name 100% right in my entire life. I love Fight Club, it's a great book, but I actually prefer this. Like, I've not read much of his other works, so I couldn't resist it. I was looking at his publishing list in the front, and I've read Survivor, Fight Club, Diary, and I've read Rant and Hunted. There's a lot that I've missed, and I've been on the lookout for this for a long time, so always look out for like secondhand books and library sales. They're always really good. The next two I was sent by the writer. Now this guy, J.M. Cornish, is a indie writer, and he was very, very young. He was 14 when he published this. He has Asperger's and he's overcome a lot, and I sat down and I read these, and I have to admit, I'm always nervous about reading self-published work. You wouldn't know this was written by a 14-year-old. It's a nice, short, concise, well-written fantasy, and the sequel is also a nice, well-written, concise, but even better fantasy. From this to this, his voice changes and his writing style grows up, and it's good, and then it's amazing. So, you know what? Absolutely fantastic, and I'm so happy I found your work, and all I'm gonna say is get these. I think as a writer he is definitely a new voice, and it's nice to hear that voice from someone so young. I'm gonna put the pub on the back of this book here, so you can pause and read that if you want. I was just blown away by them. I mean, there is some formatting issues in the first book, but that's my nitpick with most self-published work, that formatting and getting it right is a pain, and that's coming from personal experience. This book is formatted perfectly, but you know what? They are just, if you want really good, short, concise, fun, interesting fantasy, do check out his work, because he's a really cool writer, and I'm blown away by his work. So, and I'm going to include some Blu-rays. I'm doing a book haul and a wrap-up thingy with some Blu-rays, but I got A Bigger Splash on Blu-ray, and I got Call Me By Your Name on Blu-ray. So these are two films that I love. I've talked about this book incessantly. This is not based on a book, but the film is really good. Tilda Swinton, Ralph Fiennes, come on. And this is just gorgeous, and I'm blabbing. I did a video about Call Me By Your Name anyway, the book. In Poundland, that was £1 and this was £2. Can't really complain. Two great films that I adore, and I went to see at the cinema, so always nice to get those. So as always, I'm going to sign off here, and tell me what you think in the comments below. I always want to hear from you. Any book recommendations, film recommendations, that would be interesting to find out, and I will talk to you guys later.